Pretty sure. And to all of the band students in the room, I would like to leave you the best jackknife ever that happened in the gym. You're welcome. That moment you and I will remember forever. So the longer that I get to do this, the more I have to write some things down because it's so easy to leave some people out or to not take the time to thank some people who do some really awesome things. So I'm going to take some time right now to do some thank yous before we go on with the rest of the program. But the first thing I want to do is I want to thank all the parents that make sure that we have the things that we have. And I'm sure everyone in this room is aware that without our Band Booster organization, we wouldn't really have our band program. So I want to take a second to thank all the band boosters that wrap hot dogs and leave smelling like popcorn and all those things that you guys do to make sure that we have the things that we need. And we're going to thank you. We're going to take some time later to also recognize our Booster Executive Board, but I want to say my thank yous to our President, Dr. Sanson, and our Vice President, Ms. Terry Cosby, and our Secretary, Julia Van Camp, and Ms. Owen, our Treasurer, and our Parliamentarian, Becky Jones. I want to say thank you to you all. The next thing I'd like to do is marching band is probably the most visual portion of our year, but a lot of things that we do in that first part of the year carries over through the rest of the year. So I wanted to take a moment to thank all of our squad leaders and all of our auxiliary captains. Also wanted to take a moment to thank our drum majors, Carter and PJ and Samuel, and our field captains, Dion and Mary Catherine and Paris. Also, I wanted to, yes. And I wanted to take a little bit of time also to thank our band officers. And for every person in this room, you guys know how important the pep rallies are to the marching band. We take a lot of pride in our school spirit, and I must say that every year at every pep rally, without a doubt, the most spirit and the most interest in anything that's happening during that part of the year comes from the people that are in this room. We have a group of people that, for all the parents who don't know, we have a group of people who organize all of our pep rally things, and those are our band officers. Can I get all the band officers to stand real quick, please? And now I would like to take a moment to thank the people that are seated at this table, all the members of the band staff. Probably every person in this room already knows how I feel about Ms. Palmer. Not only is she like the best colleague ever, but she really is my best friend, and I could not do half, not even that. So I just want to let you know how much I appreciate everything that you do. And I want to say something else about Ms. Palmer that I think needs to be said, and that Ms. Palmer is one of the finest teachers I've ever met in my whole entire life. You ought to give it up for that. And I do not take for granted not one day that I get to be the head band director. So, a lot of the thank yous comes my way. Sometimes a lot of the bad stuff comes my way, but Ms. Palmer is always there, and I always have to make sure that I share all of those thank yous with her because I really don't do it all on my own, so I just wanted to say thank you. The other people seated at the table that I need to thank by far are mine and Ms. Palmer's spouses, Mr. Palmer and Ms. Horton, and our beautiful family, because we live at Vestavia Hills High School. We both have mortgages that we pay, and I used to joke that my dogs enjoy my house more than I do, but they don't live with us anymore. Sad tear. That's because we were never home to take care of them. So I had to make sure that they went someplace where someone could really take care of them. But I wanted to take a moment to thank our families because they sacrifice quite a bit in order to allow us to do this job. So I wanted to let them know how much we do appreciate what they do for us. I want to take a moment to thank Double Stop Percussion. They are there every single day to make sure that they get the best out of their experience. I want to take a second to thank Ms. Pressler, our majorette sponsor. Awesome. And really loving on our girls. I really appreciate you for that. I'm going to take a second to thank Mr. Attaway. And you know, you guys, Mr. Attaway is not a person that you see very often because he's really busy kind of making sure that the color guard has everything that they need choreography-wise, but he is so dedicated to this job, and we want to say thank you so much for what you do for us. Many of you may not have gotten the opportunity to meet Miss McBride, who I must from this point on call Miss Dearman, because she got married this year, and her husband is also here, and that's why you can give it up. And Miss Dearman stepped in as our color guard sponsor this year, which was awesome, especially because as our band has gotten larger, Ms. Palmer really felt like she was being pulled in two different directions. So now she can be more help for me in what I need to do, and we have someone who is graciously taking care of our girls. And for those of you who are not aware, because Mr. Dearman came to several football games, just so you know, he has a twin brother. And they're identical. So if you just walk up and start talking to the other one, it might be awkward for just about this much time, because that happened to me more than once. Before we give out the awards, I want to, you know, and for all of our parents, you come to concerts, you come to football games, and you get to see like the product, but you guys don't get to be a part of the process. And the things that we do every single day, which I feel like are the right things that we should be doing, lead us to such a great product. And I want to share with you some of the things that we do talk about in the class every day. It's not just about putting down the right note or putting your finger here or making sure that you play with great intonation, but I've always said that you know, we have great music when we have good people. So good music is just a byproduct of good people. So for all of my seniors in the room tonight, and for everybody else that's here, I just want to encourage you about a few things that I think through my life's journey has really enhanced what I do, and I want to make sure that you leave with that tonight. I'm definitely not one for trying to push religion on people, and that's not what I'm going to do right now, but there's a story I think is beneficial to everyone in this room. And there's this story in the 4th chapter of Jonah where Jonah goes through all these crazy things and God allows this vine to grow up, and Jonah's in the middle of the desert and he's really mad. And he gets a little shade and he falls asleep. But in the morning, this is the part that's really important. It says that in the morning, God prepared a worm and the worm ate the vine. And because that worm ate the vine, Jonah got this really great revelation from God. So for those of you who are not believers, this is the part that you need to listen to. Sometimes the things that you are destined to do in your life are not these big, wonderful, great, grand things, but it's just getting up and being who you've been created to be. Just being a worm. I'm pretty sure that worm got up that day and said, I'm just going to go out and eat because I'm hungry. Not because I need to change the world, but because I just need to eat something. And because that worm did that one thing, somebody else got affected in a way that really changed the course of the rest of their life. And that is something that I feel like we as people sometimes lose sight of, is that some days you don't have to be a Superman. You just got to be a man or a woman. You just come and do the things that you're required to do. You do them to the best of your ability, and you hope and you pray that at the end of the day, you've done something that's going to benefit someone in a greater way. So if, especially for my seniors tonight, leaving this organization and you go on to wherever you're going to do and whatever you're going to be a part of, I hope that you take great pleasure in just being who you've been created to be every single day, because you never know, by just being true to who you are, how you're going to affect someone in a greater way. People always talk about my Hortonisms, and I have a few of them, and I'm not shy about talking about them, because if we don't teach our young people before they leave us, then the world's going to teach them, and sometimes what the world has to teach them is not what we want them to know. So I wrote down a few things that I feel like I want to remind everybody of in this room tonight, and that is, you always have to do what's hard before you get to what's easy. And I say that all the time. You always have to do what's hard before you get to what's easy. But the trick is that you understand is that it's not that it just becomes easy, but that you just get a little stronger. And you understand better how to deal with certain things. So if you can be diligent about whatever the thing is that you're doing, it's not necessarily that it gets easier, but you just get a little stronger in being the person that you're supposed to be. I love this. It just kind of came to me last year, and I've been saying it ever since, that failure is a shortcut to success. We've got to stop telling our young people that they're always going to be at the top of their game. We've got to stop telling them that they're always going to be the best, because the truth is, my dad told me this before I went to college, is that there's always going to be someone who's a little better than you. And that's the truth. With that being said, it doesn't diminish the greatness that's inside of you, but by welcoming the great parts of other people, then we become stronger as a unit together. Which kind of leads me to the last one that I'm going to leave you with, and that is that everything that we do will affect someone in some way. The other night at the band booster meeting, someone, I think it was Mr. Banquet, said, "Hey, we didn't get our Hortonism for this time," and I said, you know, whatever we do will affect someone in some way. And I think that is probably one of the most important parts about being a part of this organization, and that is, every person that's in this room was supposed to be here for a reason, to go through your life's journey, and whatever I bring to the table is my puzzle piece, and whatever you bring to the table is your puzzle piece, and when we put them all together, we get a really beautiful picture. And it's not that my picture or my piece of the puzzle is any more important than yours, but that we learn how to put those things together in order to be our most successful. Which also reminds me, because I did grow up in a large family, I have 3 other brothers and sisters. I have 3 sisters and I have 3 brothers. I'm number 7. I like to joke that I was the oops. We're having another one. And my mother's told me that on occasion. But the one thing I did learn growing up in such a large family is that there's so many parts about my brothers and sisters that are easy to accept. And then there's some parts of my brothers and sisters sometimes that are a little difficult to accept, but because we're family, we still love one another. So I learned how to accept the parts of them that are really great, and I learned how to love them through the parts that aren't so great. And that is one thing that happens in our band family every single day. When you're watching these videos and you hear all of those inside jokes and you see them relate to one another, it's because they've learned how to take the good and the bad, and they've just become so much stronger for doing that. So that's one thing about this I think is really important. And notice in most of this conversation, I hadn't said anything about 35, 15, 50, which is the way that we balance chords, or that scales are the building blocks for great melodies. Because none of that stuff really matters if you don't really care about what you do. Because caring about what you do comes before being excellent at anything. So the last thing I want to leave you with is, especially for my seniors that are graduating tonight, I want you to remember that there's a hierarchy of motivation. And that hierarchy of motivation begins with, I have to. You remember this from growing up. I have to make my bed. I have to pick up my toys and blah, blah, blah. Nah, nah. There's such a negative connotation with I have to. And then you kind of move into, but I want to. And then kind of changes your motivation a little bit, but I want to play baseball, or I want to do this, or I want to do that. It changes the motivation. You begin to think differently about whatever it is that you do. And this is the part that's most important, is that we all live in a situation where we get to. I get to teach, I get to see my family doing well every day. I get to work with all the wonderful parents that are in here. I get to stand in front of these kids and make like wonderful music every day. And to me, that changes my motivation on sometimes when cases aren't latched, when people are late to rehearsal, when people make up 8 million excuses why they can't make it to a rehearsal. I remind myself that I get to do something that I absolutely enjoy. And I hope for all of you that are going to leave this organization tonight that you find that thing that you get to do. And that's your motivation to get up out of your bed every day and provide for your family, or to do whatever it is you choose to do in your life, that you move out of the I have to and get to I get to. And I guarantee that you'll live a life that is much happier, you'll live a life that is less sarcastic, and you will live a life that is going to be beneficial to the people that are around you. So for what it's worth, all the people in this room, especially my seniors tonight, I hope you take away all those things that we've talked about, and I hope that you remember all the great moments that you have provided, not just for me, but for your people around you. For those of you who aren't in Wind Ensemble, I'll tell you a few things that I've shared with them in the past. On the stage with them in Indianapolis last year, I experienced something that was kind of like my dream come true. And then I didn't think it could get any better until we were standing in the warm-up room for MPA this year, and I'm standing in front of an ensemble playing something that I played when I was in college. And it really just moved me that you guys are so willing to help me make it to something that I feel like is important to me. And I will work myself tirelessly every day to make sure that I provide something that you feel like is important to you too. So for all of you that have been a part of that process, I want to say thank you for just being who you are and doing what you've done. And I'm proud to kind of share this moment with you tonight that we can all celebrate the best parts of what it is that we do together. So thank you to everyone in the room.